Hey, before we get into today's episode, I am looking for 5 course creators who have at least a rough outline and want honest feedback on their course structure. I'm offering a free 30-minute video call where I'll tell you the single biggest structural problem I see and how to fix it. If that's you, grab a spot. The link is at the bottom of the show notes. If you're like most first-time course creators preparing to pick a course platform, you're about to make a decision that could cost you hundreds of dollars a month before you've sold a single course. I've sold thousands of dollars in online courses over the past 5 years, and I'm going to tell you something that most course creation programs won't. The platform they're recommending is probably wrong for you. Today, I'm going to save you from an expensive mistake. I'll tell you the platform I recommend to my clients, why I recommend it, and how I know it works. Because I made this mistake myself. After you decide to create a course, you start researching course platforms. And most of the gurus out there are going to try to sell you on one of the following: Kajabi, Teachable, or Thinkific. And they all look amazing with gorgeous templates, marketing funnels, built-in community features, the works. But those platforms that you're being told to use cost upwards of $200 a month, and sometimes more. And here's the part nobody talks about. You haven't sold anything yet. You don't have a course built. You might not even have an audience to sell it to. But you're about to commit to a monthly expense that's going to start draining your bank account the moment you sign up. So why does everyone keep recommending these platforms? Because the people recommending them aren't in your situation. The big course creation programs, the ones charging $1,000 or $2,000 for the program, they're teaching you to launch like they launch. They've got massive email lists. They've got tens of thousands of followers. They've got a proven system for generating 6 figures in a launch week. And when you're doing that kind of volume, sure, you can afford a bigger, shinier platform with lots of bells and whistles. Here's the thing about those programs, though. The success stories they show you, the screenshots of $50,000 launch weeks, those are cherry-picked. That's the top 1% of the people who went through their program. I know this because I went through one of those programs myself. I spent $2,000 on it, and what they didn't tell me was that for most first-time course creators, the first launch is small. And that's okay and perfectly normal, but it means your expenses matter a lot more when you're starting out. Let's talk about the math. Let's say you price your first course with a pretty common starting price of $97. And let's say you're paying $200 a month for your course platform. You sell one course, that's $97 in revenue. You're losing over $100 a month just on the platform. You need to sell 3 courses every single month to not lose money on hosting. Now, let's say you have a decent first launch and sell 10 courses. That's $970, which sounds okay, right? But over the course of a year, you're paying $2,400 just for the platform. You're still in the red by $1,430 for the year. You need to sell another 15 courses to break even. Not make a profit, just to break even. And here's the part that really stings. What if your first launch doesn't go the way you hoped? What if you only sell 2 or 3 courses? Now you're deep in the red on a platform you locked yourself into because someone told you it was the best. So what should you do instead? Let me tell you what I looked for when I was choosing a platform for my own courses. I wanted something that could host my content, deliver it to clients, and handle payments. That's it. I didn't need a built-in marketing funnel. I didn't need fancy email automation. I didn't need a feature list that reads like a software company's investor pitch. I needed a platform that did the job without bleeding me dry every month while I was building my audience. Now, are things like email marketing and website important? Absolutely. But here's the thing about all-in-one platforms. They try to do everything, and they don't do any of it well. I've worked with clients who've quit Kajabi and went back to using separate tools for email marketing, website hosting, and course delivery. Because even though it's all separate, it worked way better than Kajabi's all-in-one solution. So I found Heights Platform, which costs only about $50 a month. Now, I'm not saying any of this because I have an affiliate deal or a sponsorship. I'm telling you this because I've used it for years across several of my own courses. It's what I recommend to my clients. Heights has everything you need to host your course, deliver your content, and accept payments. It connects to PayPal or Stripe. Your clients pay for your course, they log in, watch your lessons, access your resources, and it just works. And here's something that most people don't realize about those bigger platforms. Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, they all take a cut of your sales. We're talking 1 to 3% on every transaction. And that's on top of the 3% that PayPal or Stripe already charge you. Heights doesn't do that. Even on their starter plan, they don't take a cut of your sales. That means more of your money stays in your pocket, which matters a lot when you're just getting started and every sale counts. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But what about the community features? What about all the marketing tools, all the advanced stuff? Well, let me tell you a story about that. About 2 years ago, I made a decision I regretted. I was using Heights platform and everything was working fine. But I started thinking I needed something more community features, a nicer looking community space, something that felt more premium. So I switched to Mighty Networks. It looked fancier, it had a dedicated community platform, it felt like an upgrade. And almost immediately, I was paying double what I had been paying on Heights. For 6 months, I stuck with it. I kept telling myself the community features would make a difference. My clients would engage more because the platform looked better. They didn't. When I actually checked, my clients rarely use the community features at all. And when I asked them, they all said the same thing. They logged in for the course content, but when it came to the community, they just weren't thinking about checking it daily the way they would their email or social media. They took the course, they did the work, and they moved on. The fancy community space, it sat there empty. And here's the kicker. Mighty Networks doubled their pricing. I was grandfathered into the old rate, but they told me in 6 months I'd move to the new structure. That would have been $200 a month for features my clients weren't even using. Needless to say, I switched back to Heights. After all of that, after switching platforms, paying double, watching an empty community, and then switching back, what actually changed about my courses? Well, nothing really. My clients had the same experience. They completed the same lessons. They got the same results. The only thing that changed was I stopped wasting my money on features that looked nice on paper, but didn't make my courses any better. The platform is not what makes your course successful. Your course content is. Your transformation is. How well you teach it is. No client has ever said, that course was life-changing, but the platform it was hosted on wasn't fancy enough, so I'm going to ask for a refund. And if someone does say that, I bet you could give them a bar of gold and they complain it wasn't shiny enough. What matters is that your clients can access your content, follow your lessons, and get the transformation you promised them. And Heights does that for about $50 a month. Right now, for your first course, don't spend $200 a month on a platform when $50 does the job. And honestly, some people never outgrow Heights. I have a client who recently switched from Thinkific to Heights. She's doing tens of thousands of dollars in revenue per year, and she switched because she was having so many issues with clients accessing her content on Thinkific. She went back to Heights and hasn't looked back. And you're also probably wondering about payment integration and how that works. If you're selling a course on Heights, the payments are handled through the platform. Heights will ask you to connect either PayPal or Stripe. If you already have PayPal, connect PayPal. If you already have Stripe, connect Stripe. That's it. You don't need WooCommerce. You don't need a separate checkout system. You don't need to figure out invoicing. The platform handles it. Of course, picking the right platform matters, but it's not nearly as important as whether your clients actually finish your course and get results. Because if they don't finish, you don't get testimonials, you don't get referrals, and your next launch gets a whole lot harder. I recorded an episode on exactly that. It's called 2 Tools to Help You Create Online Courses Your Students Will Actually Finish. I'll drop a link in the show notes. You've been listening to Course Creation for Solopreneurs. I'm Dr. Curtis Satterfield, and if nobody's told you lately, you've got what it takes to build your course. I'll talk to you in the next one.